Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Inside Movies Galore. I'm your host, David Streggy, and here I have another review for you, except this time I'm going back to 1979 with a film called Wolfman. And I absolutely hate these paper dollar DVD things, but it was a buck at the time that I had picked this up, and this is the only way that I know that I can find this film on. And it was originally just I believe it was distributed by Brentwood Pictures, which used to put out like films on four volume or four film sets or whatnot. And this film was directed by a very young Worth Keeter, who went on to direct such episodes with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Big Bad Beetleborgs, Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers in Space, Dogs of Hell, so on and so forth. So, but this particular film, it has a very big influence on it from EO Studios producer Earl Owensby, who ended up later starting the career of Chris Elliott in a sci-fi comedy called Hyperspace. In any case, so this particular film is about a man who ends up coming home to his family, and evidently his uncle is just about to die, and his grandmother is locked up by his cousins, who are in fact they are in league with the devil, with a curse of the family that has been passed down from generation to generation of lycanthropy. So when he arrives, arrives and meets up with his family of the Glasgows, which means Clement and Elizabeth Glasgow, played by Richard Deadman and Maggie Lauterer. But Colin Glasgow is the cousin who arrives, and this just so happens to be Earl Owensby, the man that has been referred to as the redneck version of Roger Corman. So ultimately, we find out that Colin Glasgow is not the kind of person to just take everything at point blank. He's not someone you can fool right offhand, like the lawyer. The lawyer involved. He the attorney that meets him at the carriage. So what I like about this film is that it's set in a period of earlier period. I do like the costumes. It is a time period piece. I do like the organ music, the creepy music that goes with some of the dream sequences in this film, because there are a couple of dream sequences when he has been cursed by this Reverend Leonard, who evidently is this mad, crazy man played by Ed Grady, who has placed the curse from the uncle to the oldest son of the Glasgows, and that just so happens to be Colin. Well, Colin meets up with a young woman in town, who I think was the probably the best the best character in the film. What's interesting is I only think that I only think that a bare minimum of people were able to act in this film. I hate to say this, but Earl Owensby was not a very good actor, and yet I very much feel that his character, the way his body actually had fur, the way he was built, he did portray what the common werewolf kind of looked like. And the werewolf design kind of reminded me of the werewolf design from Dark Shadows, or something from the effect of like the Spanish Paul Nashi, and his Baron werewolf films. So I got the sense that this is where the creature design came from. Now, there was a moment where he was running down a hallway, and I actually saw that he had a werewolf mask on, because you saw just for a moment his eyes. And so you could definitely see that this is a low budget film, but I definitely love the sets. I love the fact that he chose an underground place in the house to suggest that there were tunnels underneath the house. I did like the outside of the home, the ancestral home. It did look creepy. They definitely brought some lightning and creepy effects to the film, but everyone else, including the Clement Glasgow, Elizabeth Glasgow. I mean, even Reverend Leonard was kind of hokey. I mean, I didn't fully entirely believe his character, until he really got those widened eyes, or the moment when he tangled with Colin Glasgow. But it, the other thing is, oftentimes with films that have to do with lycanthropy, you have small towns who which tend to not believe the story of a man that can become a werewolf. I mean, you get a sense that a wolf has happened in this town before, and they're like, "Oh my God, there's no such thing," and yet, they had a werewolf problem before. Like, what the fuck? You didn't really know? So, it's definitely cheesy, and it's not the best, film, but it's one of those so bad it's good kind of films. And there were some distinct qualities that I liked about the film. So I thought it was okay. It was definitely my cup of tea. It was entertaining. It was cheesy, and I like that about it. But so hopefully you enjoyed my description of this film. Like and subscribe to my page if you have not. The reason why I went on about this film is very much later. Chris Elliott got his film career started 5 years later than this, in a film called Hyperspace, which eventually he went on to be in James Cameron's The Abyss, I believe, which to film some of that underground footage is James Cameron used part of the studio that was involved with EO Studios, Earl Owensby's studios, which was an abandoned nuclear power plant, which is kind of interesting. because that film went on to be a total success using that particular part of the studio. So, in any case, thank you for listening. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Hopefully, you enjoyed my ramblings on this film. I certainly enjoyed it. I just wanted to go on about it. It was definitely unique, entertaining, and I definitely watch it again. So, thank you so much. Have a great day, evening, or morning, wherever you are. Thank you so much.